marathon has turned into a sprint for one team, and a string of positive results has provided new life. USL Championship action brought to you by Wheels drops us into South Florida, where El Paso Locomotive comes to town to do battle with Miami FC. Good evening, everyone, with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us tonight. Ricky, we are ever so close to the postseason, and for Miami FC, they are also on the brink, but not there yet.
Outside looking in for Miami FC, so you want to pick up points, especially when you're at home. So for Luis Neal, after bounce, coming off a win at Loudoun United, what does the reaction look like? And for the other side, for El Paso Locomotive, you're coming to South Beach, winless in your last 7, you're looking for a reaction, you're looking for motivation, and what an opportunity to come into Miami FC's house and snag 3 points back to Texas.
And they have to, because you think about where they're at right now, 9-7-5, they're winless in their last 7. With all that being said, Miami FC, they've woken up, but more importantly, they're finally getting the results that they need.
And getting numbers in around that 18-yard box, having the willingness to get to that final third and create, because we know there's talent on this Miami FC side, but how do you get that talent to execute, whether it's goals and whether it's assists? And Ryan Telfer has been massive in terms of just getting on the end of things and providing that quality and that finishing touch.
You know, one of the quality things about teams throughout USL Championship is the upper echelon squads. They limit their droughts. And for El Paso, not so much. They're in a winless streak right now of 7 matches. That combined with opening up the year 0-3, they're in a rut. How do they get out of it?
And it's been up and down for Brian Clarehouse, but one thing is very true about this El Paso side. They have talent, they have quality from front to back, so how quickly can they get in a rhythm? How quickly can they get confident, especially at home? The first 10 to 15 minutes for Brian Clarehouse and El Paso is going to be really important to set the tone here on the road.
Should be a fun one. Glad you can be with us tonight. East versus West in this matchup. A hot Saturday night in Miami. Glad you can be here with us. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you the starting 11 and first touch. It's El Paso, Miami FC coming up next.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho, Sweetwater, Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas
Empanadas y Croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American Dream.
I am the future.
I am
Miami
FC.
This broadcast of Miami FC is presented by FPL. Learn how FPL is investing in Florida's future at FPL.com/value. Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Check out local offers at VWFlorida.com today. And Wheels, the future of micromobility is here. And we are live here at FIU Stadium. Miami FC, El Paso Locomotive. Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm David Gascon. Ricky, why don't you do the honors tonight?
And you're looking at fluidity is going to be the name of the game for this Miami FC side. Cabral and Akinyote might sit a bit deeper, so that's going to push Ryan Telfer on that top line. And just by tendency, you're going to see Rivas drop underneath Salazar and Soto. And that relationship has been so good for Luis Neal. That back line needs to be together and stay compact. You bring in Paco Craig. He has the ability to step into that final third and break lines with his passing range. And this talented starting 11 side needs to get it done and set the tempo here in this first half.
One notable figure not amongst the starting 11 is Kyle Murphy. He is dressed and available to play. On the other side for El Paso.
4-2-3-1, Calvillo and Moreno, how quickly can they sit in front of that back four and really dictate tempo? Solignac and Gomez. As Solignac is going to stay high, he's going to occupy the two center backs of Miami FC. So that's going to give the freedom for Petrovic and Gomez to float in and out of lines, get on the ball, create havoc, and create in that final third. For Brian Clarehout, this side needs to get on the ball early and often and ask questions of Miami FC in that back line.
So we got you off your boat and out of Brickell into the broadcast booth. Expectations for tonight, because to a man, we've talked about this over and over again. Miami FC has had the quality. They just have not had the positive results of 3 points. But now they have. Do they have enough time to dig themselves out of such a large hole?
I think 100%. It just starts here. Obviously, not only USL Championship, but leagues around the world. How do you pick up points on the road, but also at home against a very good El Paso side? Yes, winless in their last 7. But you know this Brian Clarehout side has talent from front to back. That's what I mentioned in the open. And they're very streaky. If you get them confident, you get them motivated, it's going to be a long night for Miami FC.
Well, the one area that would be a concern for many teams throughout USL Championship is weather. But not here for El Paso, because they do play, obviously, in El Paso, Texas, where temperatures aren't in the 80s and 90s. They're in the triple digits. So this won't be comfortable, but it's something that they'll be used to. Take a look at the injury report right now, brought to you by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Check out local offers at vwflorida.com today. A couple guys banged up, Moises Hernandez and Florian Velo. Velo had an injury a couple weeks ago. It did give it a valiant effort. Hernandez banged up last week. Murphy, who has not started the last 2 contests, nursing a sore ankle. Segbers with the cross. The attempt from just inside, that was miss-hit by Cabral. Didn't hit that thing anywhere close to being flush, and that resulted in a goal kick.
And we see this relationship on this near side between Sorso and Segbers. Segbers has had the freedom to join the attack as he sees fit and picks and chooses his time when to get in around that 18-yard box. Doesn't hit it as cleanly as he would like, but this ball falls kindly to Cabral. With the player that quality, you expect him to do a bit more and get it on target.
It's one of those things you look at as maybe a golfer when you hit a divot. You look at your club. Cabral did that just there. Didn't look at his foot, but he did look at the turf. Picked off Salazar. Looking for some numbers, well out. That shot denied by Diaz. First one of the night. Nice job, though, from Salazar to put it on target. Never a bad thought here in the second minute.
And already 2 minutes in, this attacking unit for Miami FC asking all sorts of questions of El Paso, picking up balls between lines. Michael Salazar picks up his head and just unleashes a rocket. And fortunate enough for Benny Diaz, it's straight at him. The keeper does very well just to parry it away.
One thing with Miami so far this season, they're one of the top teams in all of USL Championship. They've scored 9 goals in the first 15 minutes of competition. This corner kick brought to you by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Aiden Stanley will take it. He's been pretty good on service all year, so no reason to change it up for Luis Neal. Diaz punches it away. Sorto toe taps that one. It goes slicing wide by a good 10 feet. Christian so far, 4 goals in the campaign. Hair over 1,200 minutes. There's Luis Neal. Different kind of bite to his style of coaching.
Just a bit more attack-minded for Miami FC. Under Anthony Pielos, it was always defense first. There's nothing wrong with that, but we didn't see the numbers getting around that 18-yard box with Luis Neal. More numbers, more creative, more freedom, it seems like, and these players have the ability just to express themselves, and that's what you want with a talented group.
Yeah, you can only defend for so long before the onus goes back in their offense to get some kind of quality. Petrovic. El Paso, as Ricky had mentioned, winless in their last 7, 0-4-3. And unfortunately for Miami FC, they know all about streaks in the opposite direction. They're 5-9-8 this season, but they've lost only once in the last 5 matches. They've played well. They've been playing on the front end a lot more than we've seen in recent months. But a good sign with plenty of time still left on the clock. We're into the 5th minute heater from FIU Stadium. No shots yet for El Paso. Borelli, Petrovic gave that up. Opposite side of the pitch. Navarro settling it down inside the 18, but it goes to Mark Segbers. Segbers and Cabral have played well as a combination up front for Louis Neal, and Segbers has been more aggressive-minded on the opposite side, or where we've seen him. So it's nice that you can move these pieces around if you're Louis Neal, and then those rewards, they make you look like a genius.
Also Michael Salazar as well. We've seen him play numerous different positions for Miami FC, whether it's deeper, now he's on the front line. Next to Joaquin Rivas. I really like what El Paso has done in the first 5 minutes. Shaky start, but getting their foot on the ball, getting the confidence, getting the composure, moving the ball from left to right, and very patient in their build-up so far.
Bolu Akinyoti has settled things down nicely. He's in the middle of the pitch, number 21. You can't miss him out there. He continues to wear covering around his face, that mask, because of a broken nose about 3.5, 4 weeks ago. First encounter this year between these two sides with El Paso. Needing a win, trying to keep pace with everybody else in the Western Conference. And for Miami FC, they're looking to strike first early again, and more importantly for them to capture 3 more points. 2 weeks ago, they won at San Antonio 1-0. The result was remarkable for a couple of different reasons. First off, San Antonio had not lost in over a year at home. But the other reason was Miami FC played that match down a player after they scored the opening goal. Paco Craig was given 2 yellow cards in the matter of 3.5 minutes. That yellow card, the second one, was rescinded, so he came back last week against Loudoun United and played in another victory. But this is a fascinating story with Miami FC. The expectations were certainly to be amongst the upper echelon squads in all of USL Championship. Bad start, plenty of draws. Now looking for some W's. Stanley, the cross inside the 18, looking for Salazar. That one was nullified at the last moment. Diaz has to come out, and quickly he does. Trying to switch the pitch. Speaking of Paco Craig, and that's a foul, the first one of the night.
Just a different feel for Miami FC, as we've seen of late. Just patient, picking and choosing their times when to get forward and get numbers in around that 18-yard box. But give credit to this back line of El Paso. McHugh and Carrillo, the 2 center backs, have been spot on in their positioning.
Well, I got a moment. Want to remind you, select the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com. List products. Salazar with an open net. Diaz comes out. Quickly, Diaz looking for it, but he has to circle all the way back, and Salazar ever so close to making it 1-0. Strike from Rivas, no.
We talked about it in the open. Paco Craig just gives you a different look in the back. Yes, he wants to break lines, but also route one. Michael Salazar does very well just to play off the shoulder of McHugh, and then it's the emergency defending. Give credit to Navarro. That's in his positioning to deny Salazar the opening goal. But he's been so good spearheading the attack for Miami FC, whether it's coming to feet, whether it's spinning in behind it, stretching opposition. Early signs against El Paso back line.
See the way the sun is setting right now. How much does that play into a factor for the keeper in the back line for El Paso?
I think a lot.
Yeah.
So you test him and you go at him. You see, maybe it's positioning, maybe you just got lost in the sun there from McHugh, just gets on the wrong side. Michael Salazar.
So Ignac was looking for it again on the attack. This shot from Willard Zendejas had a bead on it, goes sailing over the net.
Really interesting players for El Paso on the wide areas, whether it's Petrovic on this near side, Kostishin on that far side. They're inverted. Kostishin has preferred his left foot, so you're going to see him come into the interior, look to combine, but also doesn't need a second invitation to pull the trigger. And we've seen when this El Paso side, they get going and they are confident they can beat any single team in this USL Championship.
Yeah, Kostishin's got 4 goals in the season. Solignac leads the club with 9. 29 goals so far this campaign. Goal differential, saw it in the open. 29 goals and where they're at. Western Conference is pretty unforgiving, so you lose a couple matches, you will fall off the table. El Paso with a goal differential of +1. Salazar trying to make a run on Diaz is there at the top of the box alertly. Not too happy about the love tap from Salazar, but it's all good. Pittsburgh right now first in the East, Sacramento first in the West. Do you feel like there's anyone that has a clear-cut advantage on either conference?
If you look at just the eye test, I think it's fair to say that Sacramento is probably the best team overall in the USL Championship. Power rankings had Charleston Battery. They lost at home against the Oakland Roots last night. It just shows you the talent and the margin of errors are so thin in USL Championship. So if you don't walk across that white line with your A game, you're going to be losing points and losing points fast.
It's the highs and the lows with 3 points, which in a sense helps out Cabral. Nice intercept, good anticipation here. Salazar looking for a lane. Christian Sordo. Christian trying to operate with the left foot. That one slicing a bit wide to the left, and Diaz barking at his back line. The opportunity here.
You have to be a bit cleaner if you're El Paso, especially trying to play out of the back. It's in a trafficked area. Well, Sordo tries to go for the spectacular pull it out to his left foot. We've seen him hit him from that distance, to be sure.
Akinyoti, Cabral. It is a good sign of comfort to see strikers not afraid to go with their off foot with shots. Doesn't matter where you are on the pitch, but if the opportunity presents itself, got to put it somewhere around net. Stanley. 23 matches this season for Aiden, including tonight, and 23 times he has started, and he is an absolute rock for Miami FC. We know where they're at right now overall, but one would have to wonder what kind of results or lack thereof they'd get without Stanley working defensively for Miami FC. He's been that good.
Just a player that you can't take out of the lineup. The lineup card comes, he's always penciled in, in pen, that left back position. We talk about fluidity for Miami FC, whether it's a 3-back, whether it's a 4-back. Aiden Stanley, Mark Segbers gives you the ability just to have that different look.
Christian Sordo here, looking at the near side official. Is that flag up? No, not yet. Sordo, Rivas with the chip, and he scores! That thing was tailor-made, and a beautiful sequence, the build-up. Sordo and Rivas, they know how to celebrate. It's all smiles, 1-0 Miami.
We talk about decision-making all over the field, and as you've been playing in front of this backline for El Paso, why not go in behind? Cabral has the ability, the vision, the technique to play into Sordo, and this pass, this cutback is so exquisite. You see the backline for El Paso, they're retreating their goal line. Rivas hold his run, understand there's a pocket of real estate, not to occupy in. There's information on the ball from Sordo into Rivas, and what a quality finish. Off to the corner to celebrate, dancing. 15 minutes in, Miami FC, they get their goal.
That Miami FC goal powered by Wheels. And for Joaquin Rivas, his second goal of the season, Christian Sordo with the helper, his first of the year. And for the 10th time this season, Miami FC has scored in the first 15 minutes of competition. There's not a lot of things that are automatic, but Miami FC has been pretty darn close to being automatic in the first 15, getting any kind of positive result in the goal category.
Again, we've seen the inability to deal with long balls from El Paso. Earlier in the game, it was that Michael Salazar chance getting in behind. Now it's Cabral just putting a ball and bending it into the corner. Sorto understands the high line means there's real estate in behind. What a quality team goal that is for Miami FC. So now if you're Brian Clarehouse, what does your reaction look like for this El Paso side? I haven't offered anything going forward. 15 minutes in on the road, you're down, not ideal. So the next 5 minutes are going to be really important.
Navarro into the box. That header goes dribbling in to Zendaya. Solignac didn't get that thing as much as he wanted it to be, but nevertheless on target.
And he's a player that you need to get confident. You need to get service into him. 9 goals on the year. You get him off the shoulder of opposing center backs, it can be a problem.
So Miami FC, 1-0 advantage. 3 shots already. The one on target. And Rivas with excellent space. And the accuracy was pinpoint. So we're in the 16th minute. And Miami FC already staked to a 1-0 advantage. Miami this year at home, 3 wins, 3 losses, and 5 draws. On the road, we had mentioned it with the victory at San Antonio a couple weeks ago. They've won back-to-back road contests. They're now 2-6-3. And for El Paso, you can't help but think, Ricky, uh-oh, here we go again.
This ball is just so good from Cabral. You see the high line, so that means there's real estate in behind. And then we talk about composure when you get in the final third, to pick up your head and find a blue jersey. There's information on the pass from Sorto. He doesn't hit it too hard. He elects Rivas to hit it first time and take nothing away from that quality finish. Joaquin Rivas, it's his 2nd goal on the year. None bigger than this against El Paso at home.
I love the look from Sorto looking at the near side official. It was like he took his parents' car out of the garage. Did they catch me or not? He was onside, and then Rivas with the payoff. Huge. El Paso win this in their last 7. They've also failed to get any kind of positive result when they've conceded the opening goal.
It's a good ball. I think if you're Brian Clarehouse, you're going to want a bit more movement higher up the field. Everything of your possession has been in front of this Miami FC side. You want players to break lines with their passing, but also just their movement to pull players out of position, to open up gaps. Because Miami FC is very comfortable sitting into a mid to low block.
Miami this year, when you look at some of the numbers, 3-1-3 at home when scoring the first goal of the season. But the idea, obviously, is to play well above 500 at home and decently away from FIU Stadium. They haven't done that, but they're getting better at it. So Lignac settles it down. And you just feel like anytime you can get a victory or continue to have an advantage without Kyle Murphy on the pitch, you're stealing minutes and allowing him to continue to rest and get better, and that's quite the advantage for Lewis Neal.
I think if you're Lewis Neal, if Kyle Murphy is 90 minutes fit, who you take off the field. Just the quality and the talent, the players that are clicking at the moment, the relationships that have been formed between Sorto, between Rivas and Salazar. Good problems to have for Miami FC, though.
Bully ball there from Cabral. Nice job by Gabriel as he pulled over Moreno. That's one thing. It feels like Lewis had mentioned this to us a couple weeks ago, that Cabral's been a godsend to them. He didn't play the first 2 months of the season because of injury, and then all of a sudden he gets his cardio up, starts playing full 90s, and then the impact is felt up and down the roster. Not to say that the 26-year-old is instant offense, but the cohesiveness between him and a lot of his teammates has been apparent from jump.
He just gives you a different look centrally. He just gives you the ability to play direct, to find those splitting balls. In terms of his passing range and the space that he picks up, sense of security, sense of technique and vision that we saw in the opening goal. It'll be interesting when, if Velo comes back, you press him a bit higher. You have Akinyote and Gabriel Cabral at the base of this midfield for Miami FC, so there's a plethora of options and combinations that Luis Neal has at his disposal. Another great ball.
Salazar again. Diaz has to come out. It's the second time tonight he's had to do that because Salazar looking for a clean break. 20th minute. Rivas with his second goal of the season. That occurred in the 13th minute. Christian Serta with the helper. And it's 1-0. This portion of the broadcast sponsored by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Check out local offers at vwflorida.com today. Kalen Rodosov, our lead official tonight. Navarro upset with our lead official, right on point. It's the luxury of a hot microphone, Ricky, is you can get some of the dialogue, a lot of it colorful. We do apologize.
I do think Miami FC get away with one there. Very soft challenge there from Navarro, just goes over the top and has his eyes on the ball.
Ofiemu replacing Moises Hernandez, who's injured. Paco Craig.
Again, you just see how high this line for El Paso is.
Cabral, Salazar perfectly placed. Salazar just a hair offside though. Near side official indicates it.
So if you have such a high line, two things need to happen. Benny Diaz needs to be very quick off his line to close that real estate. But also, if you have Cabral, if you have Akinyori on the ball with no pressure, you need to drop. You need to drop in top of your 18-yard box because Miami FC has hurt you so many times just playing in behind of McHugh and Carrillo. So that's something, if you're Brian Clairhart, you want to be a bit better in terms of your defensive structure.
Got to imagine the communication also needs to be elevated too. No stretch of the imagination, but Salazar clearly has a feel for what's going on in the back line for El Paso. And El Paso just trying to get this thing in a harm's way. Borelli gave it away. Akinyori to Stanley. Luis Moreno getting the start tonight for El Paso. Ripe old age of 17. Here's Ryan Telfer, a good veteran that's had his time. Ryan trying to weave his way through some traffic. Good position there from Mark Navarro. It's picked off and then back the other way. Kostishin plays it up to midfield. Gomez. Gomez has no help though. He's looking for some real estate, trying to move around. Ofiemu gets taken down, and that's going to go against Gomez. Just slowly developing.
And we've talked about it, as Gomez does very well to escape away from Paco Craig in the initial challenge. Just picks his head up, there's no one with him. To see it, blue jerseys, tries to go on his own. Just takes out Paco Craig and the back end of it. But we've seen the highs and lows from this El Paso side. When they're playing well, their combination, they have numbers in around that 18-yard box, getting themselves in that final third, fluidity between lines, exchanging rotations. We haven't seen that 24 minutes in. That's going to be a bit frustrating for Brian Clairhart, especially with how big of this field this is and the real estate there is to operate in. We haven't seen the best in terms of just the possession and the ideas for El Paso Locomotive here today.
Last time El Paso won a game, you have to go all the way back to the middle of June, June the 14th to be exact. And that was against lowly Las Vegas. Seems like if you're not beating Vegas, you're not beating anybody. And that's no disrespect, it's just where they at and how they've been this season.
Take the beaters, take the beaters.
But you call a spade, and you are what your record says you are. And for Vegas, they have 1 win this season and 12 defeats. One of them here at Miami. One of the stronger games for Miami FC this year. Two-man game between Segbers and Christian Sordo. Christian across. He's looking for Salazar. Michael has it to Telfer. Just a lot more confidence for this team from Miami. They're exuding it right now. Toe tap, Telfer, played through nicely. Salazar searching for it, Rivas. Oh, he just missed the short side. That thing was labeled. And unfortunate for Rivas, no dice.
But it's just too easy for this El Paso Locomotive side to be beat. Ryan Telfer just gets himself in behind Castilla, no track of the runner, and as this ball gets into a dangerous area, second bite at the apple for Joaquin Rivas, just so unlucky not to get on the right side of the post. But the second time in 2 minutes that the two outside backs for El Paso have the inability to track runs. First it was Segbers, then it's Ryan Telfer, and almost get punished back to back.
I mean, I see it with swimmers and see with the Olympic skaters, but that was synchronized. Everyone on the pitch for Miami FC put their hands to their face after Rivas missed that shot. It was that close.
I really think if you are Lewis Neal, you're looking at this second goal is going to be widely important in this match. You're creating chances 26 minutes in. Most of the traffic has been especially one way. So how clinical can you be for the remainder of this first half to get that 2-goal cushion?
Yeah, you failed to put the final dagger in the heart of a team that's nursing, and they can come back and bite you. Eric McHugh there with the foul. Eric from Insala, Sweden. Christian Sordo. Looking for some reinforcements. Cabral. Salazar, can he elevate that ball and get to him? Off by a couple feet. Gomez was waiting for it. Petrovic here. Poor execution, but did not go in the favor of Miami FC. They do maintain possession. Paco Craig looking for some reinforcements. When you mentioned it's too easy right now for Miami FC, there's just an area of comfort that they're playing with.
I'm just having a very difficult time just to connect simple balls for El Paso Locomotive. That's playing right into the hands of the home side to get on the ball in any team in USL Championship. That they have the time and space to pick up their head, they're going to hurt you. And we've seen that through Miami FC, just a comfortability, pick up their head, find passes between lines. I really like what Lewis Neal have done with Mark Segbers. And the build-out comes into the interior, just provide another number centrally, and that gives the freedom for Sorto to drift in and out, whether it's wide areas, whether it's down the middle of the field.
Telfer here, 28th minute. Only goal of the match, Rivas, minute number 13, Sordo with the assist. Gabriel Cabral helped set it all up. But there have been a handful of chances. Rivas almost had his second goal moments ago. 5 shots so far for Miami to just 2 for El Paso, but neither of those were a high level of danger. Pinball, Sordo. Cabral's gonna have to hurry. And if you're a team like El Paso, Ricky, that's having a problem with possession, how do you turn that around?
Play simple, connect your simple balls, get the confidence within. They had a nice passage of play around the 5-minute mark, just moving the ball from left to right. And I think you have to look at Moreno and Cavillo, the 2 double pivots in front of that back 4. To get on the ball, provide the composure, and take the win out of this Miami FC side. It's been, like I just said, it's been all one-way traffic for the home side. Simple balls like that, trying to overhit, trying to overcomplicate things.
Just a dead giveaway there for Diaz, and no opportunity to force Miami to chase the ball. The spacing has been there for Miami, and the advantage I guess important thing for them is they can play their own game. At the same time, not worry about overextending to create a goal. Love to get the second one, but if it happens, it happens. Sordo here. Don't know what his intent was with that kind of a possession. Bolu almost upended Gomez. Yeah, it does just get that real sense of kind of an impact opposition will have here at FIU, because El Paso just looks flat, uninspired.
Just no energy. Hasn't been clean enough 30 minutes in for Brian Clairhaught's liking. Offensively and defensively, two spread apart. Gaps opening up between lines. I mean, see having a field day just in terms of possession, in terms of connecting passing. Spaces just like this can hurt you.
Sordo, Cabral, Rivas doing a lot of the heavy lifting so far, and they've had positive results. Nice move by Bolu. Cabral. And now Ryan Telfer. And they're not playing this thing on easy mode, but it does feel like, for the most part, El Paso's sleepwalking a bit. Into the 31st minute, they have not put Miami FC under any kind of duress. Salazar, Sordo, Segber's looking for it. Let's see if he's marked. Long way, Rivas. This one will be played into the corner. That'll result in another corner kick for Miami FC.
We give credit to Miami FC. Not forcing the issue, being patient in their build-up, getting it wide, get numbers in around that 18-yard box, and have a very dangerous set piece the 32nd minute here.
And everyone looking for some answers. Gabriel Cabral, man from Rio de Janeiro. Moved to the United States about 8 years ago, back in 2015. There he is right now. Did not start the year with any kind of activity. It was nursing an injury. Now playing tonight in his 11th match of the season. Cabral, corner kick. Paco Craig climbs the ladder. Back to himself. Did he use someone else to pull vote up? That shot won't count. Get the sense that there'll be some hydration on both sides. That's exactly the case. 33rd minute here from FIU Stadium. Lots of questions for that man in El Paso, and plenty of answers for Miami FC. They're up 1-0.
I think it just starts with El Paso getting on the ball and getting in a rhythm. Not good enough defensively, not good enough attacking-wise, and you say that because you know the quality that's on this roster. Players that can produce that little bit of magic, whether it's Kostichin, whether it's Petrovic, Gomez, Solignac, widely quiet 33 minutes in. Those are the players that you want to get on the ball. Those are the players that you need confident, especially higher up the field. And for Miami FC, we talked about how important this second goal is going to be. Yes, you can have the ball so much, probably 60-70% of that first half, but what do you do with it?
Yeah.
How can you ask questions? How can you put Benny Diaz under pressure? So Luis Neal is going to want his boys to be a bit more ruthless when they get into the final third.
They just are playing at a different pace right now than El Paso is. We'll take a look at how this thing unfolded in the first 15 minutes, minute number 13.
We just talked about this high line and then having the composure. Christian sort of picks up his head, but look at the lack of runs, marking runs from the two center midfielders, whether it's Moreno, whether it is Cavillo, and you give Joaquin Rivas that time and space. About 13 yards out, he's going to find the back of the net every single time with the quality. Two spread of power. I give credit to how clinical Miami FC was in that instance.
That is just, it's the level of efficiency is high there, but it just looked way too easy for Joaquin. But he played it well as a trailer, and as you mentioned, creating that space.
There's no one's 5 yards around him. It's the back line. They're doing their job. They're positioning themselves right on top of that 6-yard box, and then it falls on Cavillo and Moreno to drop back and do their defensive duties. If that lacks, that cut on ball is going to be on the whole night here for Miami FC.
here in the 35th minute. Shots are 6-2 in favor of Miami. It really hasn't been that close. The margin's only 1, but it feels like a 3-goal deficit for El Paso right now. Uninspired and not providing any kind of traction on the road for a club that has not won in their last 7 matches. Possession, in case you're curious right now, 61% for Miami. Rivas, who he went the short way to Sordo. He's looking for Salza. That would have been a difficult proposition. Cabral intercepted. El Paso scored 29 goals so far this season. As Ricky had mentioned, they could fill it up. Borelli. Well, I don't know what Ofiema was doing there.
Eric. When we get there, advance it up.
Almost like he was asleep at the wheel for a moment.
A little bit of confusion, miscommunication as Zendejas is coming off his line. Ofiemu doesn't hear him. And now it's a brilliant way for El Paso when things aren't going through the run of play. Set pieces are unbelievable way to claw yourself back into this game.
Costichan gonna take this corner. See how he does. Paco Craig right in the middle of the fray. Cabral. This thing never having a chance, but the thought of Borelli sails far and wide, and it'll be a goal kick.
There's a lot of things in this world happening right now, and consumers like myself want some level of control.
I am a solar development project manager, and I get to be on the forefront of the best technology to produce clean energy.
We've transitioned from foreign oil to natural gas, and we're moving responsibly towards solar, battery, and green hydrogen, and this will all ultimately bring savings to the customer.
I know that FPL is looking at other ways that down the line will reduce my bill. We can be less dependent on oil, and the future is bright.
Well, we are back, but officially we never left. Almost another goal there, though, Ricky.
Route 1, Alzar just plays off the shoulder of Carrillo, and McHugh having a very difficult time dealing with direct balls. And Diaz comes off his line extremely quick to make himself big to deny Salazar the 2nd goal of the evening.
The half-space player, the cue if you see it.
6-3 now in the shots. Cabral, Sordo, Segbers will have to hustle for it. Some pretty good English on that ball. Somehow McHugh able to punch it away at the last second. It was nicely executed. Sordo here, slight hesitation. Now a little bit of dancing. Rivas with the left foot trying to bend that thing in. Will not go, but over the net of Diaz as Miami continues to apply the pressure. So Benny Diaz under some heavy heat tonight. 9-7-5 overalls. Diaz goals against at 133, save percentage at 711. 6 clean sheets in the campaign. There's Benny, product of Los Angeles, California. A spot you almost called home back in the day, rumor has it, Ricky. Could have been a UCLA Bruin, one of the top 2 teams in the nation. Elected to go to Creighton. Cabral, Diaz. I don't know if he should have punched that back, but nevertheless he did. '39th minute, we'll have a do-over. See Salazar, Telfer. That's a ton of size for Miami FC. That's the one luxury that they have with their back line. Paco Craig, 6'2". Stanley, 6'2". Bolu Akinyoti, 6'2". And Ryan Telfer at 6 foot tall. Telfer's at 6 foot, but he can play like a bowling ball. He's pretty wide. Cabral, line drive. Salazar with the right intention. So for the third time in feels like 40 seconds, we'll have another corner kick for Miami. Cabral again. Telfer trying to climb out, but he didn't put it on target. Stanley has it. Can't get it over to Cabral. Segber's nicely done. Cabral again. Rivas, that almost resulted in an own goal. My goodness. And Carrillo looked like he was grabbing his groin. Might have misstepped when he elevated.
And these early balls from Cabral have been so dangerous, asking questions, testing the shape of this backline of El Paso Locomotive. Last-ditch defending effort there from Carrillo, because if he doesn't make a play on this, Joaquin Rivas is licking his lips to get his brace in this first half.
See what Stanley does here. Another corner kick brought to you by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Radosov speaking to a few guys for El Paso. Benny Diaz, one of them. Not sure what the conversation is about. See Salazar and Rivas next to Diaz, giving in some grief. Loosely played, Paco Craig that hit a body in front. Should be another corner kick, and it is. Paco, like everybody else on the pitch tonight for Miami FC, hands to his head. Clear frustration, he thought he had a goal.
We've seen a lot of quality service from Miami FC, especially at this near post ball. Salazar does very well just to throw off this backline of El Paso Locomotive. Paco Craig just so unlucky with the pin balls out.
Stanley again. Craig tried knifing through the defense, could not. Sordo bouncing that around and nobody available.
Whether it is Aiden Stanley on this near side or Gabriel Cabral on that far side, trying to fire that near post ball into a flick on just to have a secondary action. And those are so difficult to deal with if you're a defensive unit, because you need to track that runner. And since there's the players in front of you, easily it's lost in translation.
43rd minute. We will have some stoppage time added to the end of this first half because there was a hydration break taking place. A little bit of frustration there from Navarro. Mark, the Spaniard, not too happy right now, and our first substitution of the night comes in the first half. Oddly enough, Carrillo, who we thought was nursing maybe a little bit of an injury, Yuma comes in. Substitution brought to you by Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
And he means so much to El Paso, what they do defensively. A leader, character, likes to get stuck in, no nonsense center back. So how quickly can he get in a relationship between McHugh? It's interesting, David, because Brian Clairhart elects to use a moment right before halftime, so that tells you it's something maybe a bit dangerous for Carrillo. He can't go any further.
Stanley settled nicely for Christian Sordo. Segbers wanted to go on a run, but Rivas did not elect to give it back to him. Paco Craig timing a little bit off on that. I can hear some of the communication. They never got into that. You made the move to go to Creighton as opposed to UCLA. Why is that?
Putting me on the spot here.
Have to.
I committed early. I committed my junior year.
Okay.
And
Out of Minnesota?
yes, out of Shattuck St. Mary's, and ended up getting a good scholarship to Creighton University. And as I committed early, that's when you start to get the secondary options right after. And I was happy with my decision, so I'm gonna bite the bullet, and I couldn't look back. Nothing would have changed. Creighton was fantastic to me the 3.5 years I was there, so go Blue Jays.
I was gonna say, a wild ride. You were an All-American there, 3.5 years, and now I bring that up too because of the realignment with college. The conferences now in Division I are changing all the way across the map. I mean, you mentioned UCLA going to the Big Ten now with USC, and then all of a sudden another contract signed, so Oregon's gonna go there, Arizona State, got 3 minutes of stoppage time here. It just changes. It's a wild dynamic for all the sports across the board. You go from a Power 5 to just, I don't know, a bunch of power, because that's what it is. But the mid-majors like Creighton, they're not going to be lost, especially when it comes to the tournament time with soccer and even college basketball. But you're going to get a lot more eyes on those mid-majors, especially now that the travel will be so heavily involved, more so I feel like now than ever.
100%, and also talk about just the growth of the NLIs. So college sports has just been completely different since I was there. Wish I can turn back the clock.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? I read a report 2 days ago when they were talking about all of this that it's projected former USC tailback Reggie Bush probably would have made around $6 million a year in NIL money.
Incredible.
Now the question is, what would have Ricky Lopez made at Creighton in your prime?
Not $6 million, I'll tell you that.
Hey, we could put a little dent into the college tuition. Well, obviously, you're a scholarship player. You don't have to worry about that. But a little giving back to the parents. Cabral got taken down. Will a penalty be called? Cabral, he went down, and he is grimacing, but he was not acting at any means throughout that entire process. And that's going to be the case, Ricky. Yuma upset.
But once again, David, it's the lack of the trailing run centrally from the midfielders for El Paso. Cabral understands if I just get there before Yuma, I take the contact, I make the most of it. There is a little bit of contact. The center back is a bit late. You don't want to leave your feet and give any decision to the referee, especially with the experience of the center back. In around that 18-yard box, Gabriel Cabral has his fingerprints all over this game.
The look from Yuma, from where we're at, was not only a matter of disgust, but it was almost like he was shocked that a penalty was called.
But there's just no need to lunge into this ball. Move your feet, ride the wave, and let Gabriel Cabral go into a corner, make him play negative, but now you give Joaquin Rivas the ability to get his brace in the 48th minute.
Stoppage time. This will be the first time this season, it'll be a yellow card issued to El Paso's bench. First PK this season for Joaquin Rivas. Miami FC, ooh, 2 yellow cards or a red card, it looks like. Claret's done. That's indicative of the night and also the way the season has unfolded for El Paso. Brian Claret being serenaded now by the hometown faithful. That was a quick hook. But you mentioned it, Ricky, it's important for Miami FC not to only have the lead, but to get another goal. And you feel like if Rivas can convert here, that'll be the nail in the coffin. Diaz this season 0 for 2 on penalties against. Rivas trying to make it 2-0. On the approach, takes a shot with the left foot, and he scores! But Diaz gets right. Rivas overpowers him. Stoppage time goal here in the first half. And it's 2-0 Miami.
Confident, that's exactly what you would expect from Joaquin Rivas. Closes up his hips at the last second. Benny Diaz gets a lot of this ball. He's going to be frustrated not to push it wide of the post, but that man does not care. Off to the corner, brace on the day, 2-0 Miami FC. Dream first half, especially at home.
Joaquin Rivas doing all the heavy lifting for Miami FC with the 2 goals. That one powered by Wheels. And for Joaquin, tonight, goals number 2 and 3. But give a ton of credit to Gabriel Cabral, who set that all up. He's been a table setter a lot.
But again, on the back end of it, it's just a lack of recovery runs from Cavillo and Moreno. That puts Yuma in a very tricky situation. That pulls him out, and he leaves his feet when he doesn't need to. Is there contact? Maybe slightly, but Gabriel Cabral makes the most of it, wins a PK. No VAR in USL Championship, so 2-0, Miami FC will take the lead.
No head coach, 2-0 deficit. And if you're El Paso, you are in a world of hurt. Again, the last time they won a match back in June the 14th. If you look at the records, you might think El Paso's a team that's not only having the better season, but playing better as of late. Nowhere close. Petrovic, the cross, floated around. Ofiemu gets it out of harm's way, at least for the time being. Salazar hustling back. Borelli. Petrovic takes his eyes off the ball, and that is a good indication of how poor El Paso played in the first half, as this thing is in the books for the first 45.
Especially very frustrating for the visitors, not connecting simple balls, not good in their defensive shape, and just too many gaps. And that man's having a field day with the real estate that he has to occupy. And so for Luis Neal, what is the message to your team? You need to not get complacent, look for that third goal, and to start defensively to keep this clean sheet intact.
Well, at the end of this contest, we'll have our Tata 2 man of the match. Got a pretty good idea of who it is right now. Joaquin Rivas with 2 goals in the opening act. And Miami FC right now, 45 minutes away from building on their winning streak. They're up 2-0.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Welcome back. We're at the FPL Halftime Report presented by Macron. Learn how FPL is investing in Florida's future at FPL.com/value with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon. It is a pleasant Saturday night wherever you may be, and all is well for Miami FC. The 2-0 advantage, and also they're picking up some steam late in the year.
You talk about just life before Anthony Peels, during Anthony Peels, and after Anthony Peels. He comes in off of being an assistant at Inter Miami, and you knew what you're going to expect. from Anthony Peels was so good with St. Louis City, was so good when he was at St. Louis and USL defensively, so hard to break down, where it's not going to leak a lot of goals. You see 21 goals against. That just tells you the frustrations to start the season. But as he steps down, Lewis Neal comes in, and I think Lewis Neal has just changed the side completely in terms of their confidence, in terms of their mentality and willingness to get on the end of things. You talk about fluidity, you talk about confidence, you talk about players expressing themselves in the final third. So all is well for Miami FC at the moment.
This isn't in real time, but now goals for is 8-7. I mean, it's huge, but you look at it. 3 wins in 7 matches for Lewis Neal, and for Anthony Pulis, he didn't get to 3. I mean, it's the result, right? It's a changing of the nature, changing of the guard, and they got the positive results. And right now, they're 45 minutes away from picking up win number 4 with Lewis Neal as the interim coach. And right now, they're on the brink of a playoff spot. Right now, on the outside looking in, they have 23 points, trying to get to number 26. We're at the break right now, 45 minutes in the books, though. When we come back, Ricky and I will have some first half highlights, some stats, and also news and notes around USL Championship action. Stay there.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Joaquin Rivas goals number 2 and 3 on the season in the first half. Miami FC has a comfortable advantage right now over El Paso. 2-0 is the score with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon. When we come back, news and notes and also some first half highlights. All that and then some when we return.
Are you ready? Ready for more of the game you love? Ready for more players and more teams? Ready for more stadiums, for more fans in more cities? This is a different league. The USL Super League. Built for the future of women's soccer. Bridging the journey from youth to pro, connected to the global game, and bringing it all closer to home. Are you ready?
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Way out on the goal line, a second one finds Twine, and Philip Goodrum in the Back here at FIU Stadium with Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm David Gascon. 2-0 is a score. While we have a moment in time, we get to look around the house. USL Championship news and notes. Ricky, what do we got?
Let's take a look at the player of the week, Tanya Oluwashi, scoring goals for fun at the moment in San Antonio. They have a massive game against Phoenix Rising, but the Loyal, 3 games win streak, 4 consecutive at home coming up. Nate Miller pressing all the right buttons, has his fingerprints all over that locker room, getting the best out of their players, and then you go down one. USL on ESPN, August 9th, Switchbacks, FC Tulsa, firecracker of a match.
Should be fun. Colorado Springs won last night, 2-1 over Birmingham. Juan Tejada with a game-winning goal in the 84th minute. Tonight, what is on tap? You mentioned San Antonio, but Sacramento and Monterey Bay, that's a game desperate for Monterey Bay. They need to pick up a W. They're outside the playoff spot looking in.
That's a big one for Frankie Alpin Company, but you go to the right-hand side, San Diego hosting a completely different look of Orange County. They've really turned things around. Las Vegas Lights, they host RGV. Phoenix Rising hosting the reigning champs, and then on Wednesday we have good ones in the 11, Birmingham, and Lou City welcoming Charleston Battery to Lynn Family Stadium.
They've righted the ship after a 3-game losing streak. The games from last night, Oakland defeating Charleston, Colorado Springs we mentioned, New Mexico over Hartford at the end of the first half. I think the only surprise right now is, not even a surprise, but Pittsburgh, they just continue to play well. It almost feels like they were stuck in neutral for a long time. Then they got to the U.S. Open Cup, and that started to build their confidence, and they haven't looked back.
I mean, you have the leadership of Bob Lilly. He's been there and he's done that. But going to the Oakland roots as well, going into Charleston, taking all 3 points back. And one thing to point out, Birmingham Legion's goal, if you haven't seen it, Nico Brett, go check it out and listen to the call. David Gascon's truly. Gascon's truly.
Oh boy, well, it's a perfect sunset right now in South Florida. Glad you could hang out with us for a few minutes. Miami FC trying to put this thing to bed. They're up right now over Paso, 2-0. More to come up shortly.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho,
Sweetwater,
Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American Dream.
I am the future.
I am.
I am Miami FC.
And we're back here at FIU Stadium. FPL halftime report presented by Macron. With Ricky Lopez-Espin, I am David Gasca. On both teams on the pitch. Quickly, we run through the highlights, Ricky.
Early start for Miami FC, but this ball from Gabriel Cabral just unlocks his whole back line. But look at the lack of trailing recovery runs from the two-center midfielder for El Paso. Christian Soto understands the task at hand, just rolls this ball into the path of Joaquin Rivas, and what a fantastic goal. Opens up his hips and closes them and just roofs this thing. Miami FC, they get their first goal in the first 15 minutes. It's a dream start for Luis Neal in the home side. The question mark for El Paso is, can they ever get in a rhythm? Can they get comfortable? Can they take the win out of the sails, or maybe even the dance out of the step of Miami FC as this ball rotates over? Again, you must force to step off his body because the two center midfielders do not drop. There's no need to go down to your feet if you're a center back with that experience, and that man, Joaquin Rivas, probably not the best pen he's ever going to take. Benny Diaz gets a lot of it, but doesn't have the ability to push it wide of the post. Dream first half for that man, and dream first half for Miami FC.
First half stats brought to you by Takes. The numbers tell you all that you need to know. This thing is a one-sided bloodbath.
You just see the shot on target 1 for El Paso Locomotive. And that's something that you probably do not expect with the talent, especially on the attacking phase for El Paso. You look at Pejovic, Gomez, Koshinsin, and Solignac, extremely quiet in that first half. You need to get them going. And for Luis Neal and Miami FC, it just starts defensively. Try to keep this clean sheet intact, and if you can get a third, it puts the nail in the coffin.
And don't forget, we mentioned at the top of the show, but this is all going on right now without Colin Murphy on the pitch. He played sparingly last week against Loudoun United because of a sore ankle. And because of that, played late in that affair. They won it 2-1. And so you feel like any lift that you can give him and the team without him being on the pitch, you're just stealing some minutes. So they're up 2-0. I can't imagine this is just not any kind of indication that he is not ready to play a game. But I can't imagine Luis Neal puts him out there tonight. If you can steal a couple more days away and get him to 100%, that'll go a long way for him.
No Colin Murphy for Miami FC, but also Brian Clarehout on the sideline for El Paso picks up a red card later in the first half. So now what does this look like for El Paso in terms of their character to dig down and fight, try to get something going forward?
Well, they're down 2-0 is El Paso. They have been outclassed from pillar to post so far. 2 goals from Joaquin Rivas, 12 shots. 4 on target for Miami FC, and they dominated the possession category, as we mentioned, 55% to 45. And for all intents and purposes, Ricky, it hasn't even been that close.
It hasn't at all, but now a different look for El Paso Locomotive. Moreno goes off the field. Liam Rose comes centrally next to Calvillo. So how does his impact affect the way, just the flow of El Paso getting on the ball a bit more, because it was widely one-way traffic for the home side, testing and asking questions of this back line.
With Rose coming in, an extra substitution being made. Brought to you by Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers. Bolu Akinyoti, Paco Craig, and Aiden Stanley here. Stanley with a great deal of confidence. And the chirping continues from El Paso's bench. El Paso winless in their last 7. 0-4-3, and they're staring at it right now. Possibly going to winless in 8 in a row.
And already 2 minutes in, you just feel different energy for its El Paso Locomotive side, pressing a bit higher, just like that, Solignac.
Pretty filthy move by Zendejas. It's a do-or-die moment. Navarro taking out Aiden Stanley. He's got no remorse there. And gets an immediate yellow card.
You press high, you throw numbers forward. There's a mistimed challenge for Navarro as this ball comes in extremely late and catches Aiden Stanley. Knows exactly what he's doing.
Will the frustration continue to mount for El Paso? And if it does, will it result in more physicality and potentially another red card? For Navarro, that yellow card in the 48th minute, just his 3rd of the year. Coming into this contest, El Paso may be a physical team, but not overzealous by any stretch of the imagination. They only had 62 yellow cards coming into tonight's contest. Say that, Miami's even better than them. Telfer got taken out just outside the 18. That could have easily resulted in a yellow card as McHugh, the guilty party there.
Just forcing the issue, getting in behind and testing the two center backs. McHugh comes off his line. It's just outside of the 18-yard box, but Ryan Telfer does so well to come into the interior and feel the contact. It's all about body position. That separation touch, clear-cut foul. No argument to be had from the center back, and now a very dangerous set piece for Miami FC the start of the second half.
So the yellow card does come from McHugh. Occurs here in the 50th minute. And this thing could go from bad to worse for El Paso. 2 yellow cards early on here in the second half. Down 2-0. Head coach removed via a red card. See what Stanley does here. Works shortly, Rivas. Got to be careful here of the counter. Numbers Gomez trying to attack. Possible 2-on-1. Stanley gets on his horse. Ofiemu, good job backtracking as well. Costation played it into the box. Paco Craig got in front of it, and here's Bolo. This is not hyperbole, but if this match was maybe 5 weeks ago, that counterattack probably would have led to an El Paso goal. Just the way that Miami has played this year, the ebbs and flows.
And also the El Paso just earlier in this year just had an unbelievable win streak. Could not lose and not do anything wrong. Those sides have turned winless in their last 7. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they right that ship. There's just too much talent on the roster for Brian Clairhart not to get this thing right. Know anything about him, the way that he wants to play expansive, progressive football, attacking football as well. The players really buy into his game plan, which just hasn't been their night so far, 51 minutes in.
Well, they ran through a streak that saw them win not once, not twice, but 9 times, and they had a result in 12 in a row. Went 9-0-3, and then all of a sudden they fell off a cliff. Just wild. And that is such a random streak that you'll run into like that. The yin and the yang.
You're just looking for consistency in terms of personnel, in terms of performances, in terms of just over 90 minutes. Doing the simple things right. Already 6 minutes in, completely different look for El Paso Locomotive, getting on the ball a bit more, especially in their attacking third.
This portion of the broadcast is sponsored by Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers. Agents and Dejas in net tonight hasn't been tested. Agents so far this year now 4-4-7. Goals against it's at 127. Save percentage at 738. He's got 4 clean sheets on the campaign. But Agent's just a different dude between the sticks compared to when we saw him in the early portion of the season. What gives?
Just think confidence. I mean, again, it's a lot with these players. Everyone is getting paid to play professional football, so it's never a matter of talent or execution, just a matter of confidence, believing in yourself, in the qualities. You're here for a reason. That's why you talk about the mental side of the game. It's just so important to be the best that you can be when you walk across those white lines.
Segbers can't get to it, but a nice intercept, so at least switches the pitch for Miami. If you're just joining us, Joaquin Rivas, 2 goals, one of them in 13th minute. Christian Sordo with the assist, and then Gabriel Cabral got upended inside the box. Led to Rivas during stoppage time in the first half to capitalize on a penalty. So he's got 3 goals now in the season. And a 2-0 advantage for Miami, trying to get their 4th home victory of the season. They've only lost 3 times here at FIU Stadium. Trying to limit that. Costation got taken down by Akinyoti, and now he's a little frustrated because of the call.
We didn't see it in the first half, but now playing more direct. Gomez is very well to hold this ball up and just peel off of Paco Craig. And it's a support system from Costichin to get himself, feel the contact from Acagnotti, much like the pen, probably not a lot of contact, but makes the most of it. And now you're looking at a very tricky set piece for Zendejas. You're aiming for right across that far post with a lot of traffic. No one touches it, can squeak into that far post.
This one played and it goes wide of the net.
Tries to catch him cheating. Just pulls it a bit too much.
We're gonna do water break at 70? 75? 75? Thank you.
Up and over the wall. He hits it well, to be fair, but just the angle gets all off.
Costichin with 4 goals in the season and now 22 matches for El Paso. Making his 10th start of the year. 3rd run now with El Paso. Began his career with Indy 11. Gomez, he goes down and tripped up by Acagnotti, so back-to-back calls against Bolu. Gomez asking for a lot more than a common foul.
Playing off the shoulder of central midfielders of Acagnotti. Makes him make a challenge on the backside, just emergency from number 21 in blue. Now once again, another dangerous set piece for a way to claw themselves back into this game for the visitors.
United, they stand there at the top of the box with that wall. Gomez still pleading with Kalen Radosov, the lead official tonight. Not like it's going to change anything at this point. See who takes this. Costichin. Going to be the case. That thing never had a chance. Miami trying to run their record to 24-0-6 when leading at the end of the first half. Unbeaten in 29 straight matches. That's a remarkable feat. John Burklow, the assistant coach, trying to talk to his troops. Don't miss a minute of the action here in 2023. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN Plus, the home of USL, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and much, much more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. ESPN Plus will be busy tonight. Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. Boxer versus MMA specialist. Man from Stockton. You gonna be watching that?
With you, yeah.
Maybe? All right.
We got a date.
Gotta find a taco spot then.
There you go.
I'll bring the pay-per-view, ESPN Plus, and you just pick the location. Paco Craig has been everywhere on the map tonight. Literally and figuratively, he's played well. The man from London, England. Also keep in mind what's going on around USL.
You're looking for quality now for El Paso. The last 2 set pieces haven't been
anything to brag about just yet. Defense bearing down. So like Nat got forced out though. Best sequence of possession. I don't know if Bolu caught that one in the face, and that might be the case. He's dropping to a knee. Again, he's got a mask on because he broke his nose 4 weeks ago. Went up for a header, and a smaller player against him went up to the bridge of the nose and drilled him.
Definitely does not feel good. Straight in the face As Borelli just tries to whip it back in a dangerous area.
It was in Dejas there. Adrian, been a pro now since 2016. Trying to make some heads turn is Christian Sordo. Christian looking for a nice volley to Salazar. Bolo loses the mask again. And I'll pick it up. I don't know if that thing is taped on or if it's elastic. Segbers, and now Bolo would ditch the mask. Salazar looking for Segbers. Mark. Well, he's got Rivas at the top of the box. Rivas to Bolo. Bolo with a strike, but that thing did not have a lot of accuracy on it, and it goes wide.
Just the wrong foot from Akinyoti. As this ball comes back, you need to hit it with your right foot to close down the time and just get your hips around it. But as you go for the left foot, your preferred left foot, you just see the angles all off. If he just steps into it and just ropes this thing with the right foot to that near post, it puts Benny Diaz in a lot of trouble. Just a wrong foot. So you go out for a seamless goal kick. I'll tell you what, since Liam Rosas came to this game, El Paso just feels a bit different, a bit more comfortable on the ball, connecting the back to front. Something that was just not there in the first half for the visitors. Give credit to the coaching staff for El Paso to come in and make the right timely substitution.
One has to wonder why Rose did not start. This one played into the box. That one chipped wide of the cage. Solinak came barreling in. That shot missed by a couple feet.
But as he comes in, it takes out a continue whole line of Miami FC. Telfer, Akinyoti, Cabral get caught in behind. And it's a good early ball in from Navarro. Just rolls into the path. And Lucho Solinak's going to want this one back. Just should be getting it on target. Don't need to hit it too hard. Just use the momentum against it and get it on, glide it.
Stanley's pass a little bit off the markers. Bolu. Yeah, going back to Liam Rose, one has to be curious of why he didn't start tonight. It's the first time he's come off the bench for El Paso this year. 20 matches prior to today and 20 starts. Now, match number 21 for him. Craig, not the best effort, but he draws a foul there. Chirping continues between him and Rose. A lot of vitriol on the pitch, Ricky.
It's frustration as Paco Craig just skips through a couple players, makes a statement with the follow through. Liam Rose, a lot of the body of Paco Craig.
El Paso trying to counter now. And that'll be a foul. Has to be against Sofiemu. Yeah, that'll be a case. Might be a yellow card, and it is. 62nd minute in the book. Sofiemu, and he'll do a little barking too.
Again, you just talk centrally. As Liam Rose comes into the game, Gomez comes up more involved, and that pulls out Paco Craig. And as he gets pulled out, there's real estate in behind. Petrovic understands, let me just advance myself, and it's emergency, clear-cut yellow card from Sofiemu. And around the hip, professional foul because he's beat.
Always a time and place for everything, and that was exactly the spot for Sofiemu. Navarro. Paco Craig just gets this thing into harm's way. See Sofiemu and McHugh right now inside the 18 doing a little tap dance. Got 6 inside the 18 for El Paso. Nice play by Zendejas. That goes dribbling through, but never had a chance to go on target. Calvillo was anticipating maybe a stronger hop from the turf. Not the case here in the 64th minute. keep an eye on everything else that is USL Championship, especially in the Eastern Conference, with this score being 2-0. Miami trying to force themselves into a playoff spot. Pittsburgh beating Tampa Bay. Indy 11, Memphis 901, 1 apiece. So Lignac, and that goes to Paco Craig. New Mexico leading Hartford by a count of 1-0.
Great ball.
Plenty of real estate. Lignac going the opposite side of the pitch. Petrovic against Segbers. Double team comes. Kostitian stuttering. Bolu disrupting.
But it's better from the visitors. Bit more patient, bit more quality once they get in around that 18-yard box, moving the ball from left to right, trying to isolate those wingers, and then you give Kostitian the freedom to roam, whether it's into the interior, whether it's in between lines, and he's really come alive in the second half.
Petrovic. Nice stutter against Cabral. Petrovic trying to find a line of sight to put it in on Zendejas. Rose here. Navarro with the insert, the header. Zendejas, perfect positioning there. Kostitian trying to earmark that thing for the lower right-hand corner, but Zendejas, fine read.
Really good run across Aiden Stanley between him and Paco Craig. Just straight at Zendejas once again. But something we didn't see from El Paso in the first half, just getting numbers higher up the field, quality around that 18-yard box. Navarro, as an outside back, gives you the quality just of service that you expect from a player of his quality.
'66th minute. All things stay the same. Indy 11, Memphis 901 being tied at 1-1. Indy and Miami will be tied with 26 points. Miss hit there by Salazar, said my bad. The tiebreaker advantage goes to Indy 11, at least for the time being, with games played. And their goal differential at -1, where Miami FC is at -5. Got some changes. Zacharias coming in. These substitutions brought to you by Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers. Ricardo from Las Cruces, New Mexico. He's in for Gomez, so Gomez's night is over and done with. Nick Hines also coming in. Hines in the back line. So 2 changes here for El Paso. See if they could put a dent into this deficit. Kostitian, poor service there, goes right to Paco Craig. 68th minute. Well, Ricky, as you mentioned, the play's been better from El Paso, but now they need to put some shots on goal. The one header by Kostitian, it's really not going to be enough.
But to be fair, that's coming out of the break. This whole second half has been played in the attacking half for El Paso Locomotive. You bring Zacharias, and now he just gives you quality. 3 goals and 3 assists on the year. Nick Hines, an attacking outside back, so how quickly can he get forward and provide width and provide an overload on that far side? A lot to be answered for El Paso. But you can't have this happen. You can't overextend yourself and leave yourself vulnerable going back the other way on the counterattack.
I know Rivas was asking for that ball from Telfer. Did not see him at all. Looks like Ben Mines is going to come in for Lewis Neal in a moment. Rivas, Salazar. Cabral hitting the official. Hit the bad guy. Colorado South, the lead official tonight, getting the area play. No harm, no foul, though, as Mines will come in a moment. This is right around where Miami FC wants to make a couple of fresh changes, and now they have the luxury of doing it with the advantage and a 2-goal margin. So not like they're trying to hold on for dear life, but just trying to secure it and make sure El Paso doesn't have any thoughts of climbing back into this thing. Too soft on that pass for Segbers, so a clean takeaway.
Really good tackle there from Bolu. Zacharias just gets in behind, emergency defending, and now on the break for Miami FC once again.
Telfer bodied off for a moment by McHugh. Sordo, Segbers. Very comfortable on the ball. Telfer looking for a crease. Salazar dribbling. See, Aiden takes that shot and love to get that thing back. Don't know why he pulled it. So Mines will come in for Ryan Telfer. Substitution brought to you by Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers. So Benjamin Mines now coming in.
Pathfinder's only $199 a month during Weston Nissan's Drive for Less sales event. Drive the Pathfinder, only $199 a month, 33 in stock. Shop WestonNissan.com. Drive for less at Weston Nissan.
And we are back. 71st minute from FIU Stadium. Live on a Saturday night in South Florida. Ricky Lopez-Espin and David Gascon. And our entire award-winning crew has gone wire to wire this season with Miami FC, and it's been some highs, it's been some lows, and a little bit of in between. No shortage of drama, that's for sure.
Never in USL Championship, let alone Miami FC.
Yeah, been a ton of fun, and now we get to find out who shakes out here in the month of August before we get to postseason. 72nd minute. 2 goals scored, both in the first half, both by Joaquin Rivas. One on a PK. Another one, a nice feed from Christian Sordo. Led through by Gabriel Cabral. Cabral having an impact on both markers. Got taken down inside the box. That led to the second goal for Rivas on the penalty. So he has made an imprint. And then defensively, everything has been squeaky clean for Miami.
You just see already every single player in their defensive half, mid to low block, making life very frustrating for El Paso. So if you're El Paso, how do you break down this block of Miami? See, 2 things need to happen. You need to be a bit cleaner on the ball, more decisive. The ball needs to move a lot faster as well on the back end of it. More movement on the front line, pulling players out of position to open up gaps for each other. Been a bit stagnant as of late for El Paso, that was doing so well since coming out of halftime.
Yuma taking down Salazar. We're gonna get a hydration break in a moment. We've been led to believe it'll occur right around the 75th. Did have one in the first half as well.
Go ahead.
But a hot night, 89 degrees at kickoff, humidity around 64%. Don't know where that was going. Fans of Ricky Lopez-Espin waving at him. Celebrity status, Ricky.
Oh, stop it.
It's not every day I get to call a match with an All-American. FIU Stadium, though. dual course facility for soccer, professional and college alike, and also college football. Renovated once, increased the capacity here. Good body position there from Ofiemu.
But it's just a wrong ball from Kostishin. Picks up his head. Solignac does so well to pull off that center back. A big lane opens up. If you just take your real estate, you have an opportunity to pull the trigger. Like you said, David, Ofiemu has really come into his own since Hernandez has gotten hurt, really making that position his, and he formed a very nice relationship between him and Paco Craig.
No hint yet of when Hernandez will come back to activity. But as you mentioned, Ricky, they have quite a luxury of gems on the bench. So good reserves allow them to sustain a few injuries and not miss a beat. But regardless if they're missing a player or not, the most important thing right now is you got to pick up W's, and they're about 15 minutes and some change away from getting win number 3 in their last 3. Miami right now 3-1-1 in their last 5. Won 2 straight.
Once again, you just see El Paso. Those are the last 5-10 minutes. Everything has been in front of Miami FC, and if you're a defensive unit, especially center backs, it's so easy just to step up, move from left to right. Ask any defender, what's a nightmare? Turning around, facing your own goal, and that's something that has yet to happen just with the pure runs and movement on the front line for the visitors.
Petrovic trying to cross it. Segbers says no. Nicely done by him. Hines, by mistake, it went through the wickets of Rivas, but nice pickoff by Bolu. Here's Cabral and Salazar with some steam. Michael has it now. Cabral trying to get out wide. He's marked though. Michael makes it cut, takes a shot. That one off the crossbar. Iron unkind for Michael Salazar. That thing had a blistering pace to it, but he was denied.
Just so decisive. As Salazar picks up his head and isolates McHugh, knows exactly what he's gonna do. Little drop with the shoulder, comes into the interior and just tattoos this ball. Just so unlucky, 2 inches lower. 3-0 Miami FC, but gets denied by the goalkeeper's best friend. You ask any center back again, what's a nightmare? A player that does the simple things at a very high level and very decisive. Michael Salazar sets McHugh up extremely well, creates his own space, and just lacking that last bit of execution.
Unfortunate for him. I'm gonna go back to the shot, and you mentioned it. Lowering his shoulder.
It just comes off of the hard work of Bolo Akinyote, and I think he's been so spectacular this season for Miami FC. He does so much of the dirty work to let players like Gabriel Cabral, Michael Salazar really shine on the attacking phase of the game. But you look at the defending for McHugh, needs to be a bit better. You can't get too square, because as you get square, you get caught flat-footed. Michael Salazar takes advantage of it and just almost has a spectacular goal.
Well, I got a brief moment in time. If you can't watch the match, make sure you turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. More changes here for El Paso. Substitutions being brought to you by Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers. Miles Lyons coming into the contest now. So 5 changes so far for El Paso, 1 in the first half, and now 4 here in the second half. Navarro, Carrillo, Borelli, Moreno, and Gomez have all exited stage left. So El Paso in danger of running their winless streak to 8 consecutive affairs. Mines trying to hurdle over a defender. The worst part with El Paso right now is not only the result of being winless in 7 straight, on the verge of 8, but they're getting outgunned too. They've been outscored by the opposition during this stretch, 15-6.
Having a very difficult time finding that final piece, taking the ball in the back of the net. Yes, it's the hardest thing to do in football, but also they have players that can produce that individual piece of magic that you come to expect. You just look down the stat sheet. Great ball.
Oh, nicely played. Ben Mines, he goes in, coming out Diaz, but ruled offside.
You just look at down the stat sheet. Solignac, 9 goals, 1 assist on the year. Petrovic, 4 goals, 1 assist. Kostishin, 4 goals, 3 assists. Players that can produce and assist. Just not clicking at the moment.
Here's Lyons. Entering the contest just moments ago. 81st minute. We did have a hydration break in the first half, 1 here in the second. But don't know how much Kevin Radosov will give El Paso in terms of stoppage time. But yeah, they're really feeling it.
Just look at the spacing for El Paso. Solignac is dropping so deep on top of the circle and his own attacking half. You want him to stay high. You want him to occupy and expand. And it's a sloppy turnover. Now Miami FC on the break.
3-on-2. Bad pass by Christian Sordo. He was looking for Rivas. Rivas tried forcing that. Lions able to break it up. Haven't seen the same high level of efficiency passing-wise from Miami in the second half. I think that's more of just having a 2-0 lead than anything.
A bit of complacency for Louis Neal's boys. Emphasis was probably defending the clean sheet. Did all the dirty work in the first half on the attacking phase of the game. I've been very impressed with the movement of Michael Salazar. You look at him, you look at his physical attributes, you think he's going to be a target number 9, likes to play with his back to goal, likes to relieve and invite a lot of pressure, but just pulling players out of position, spinning in behind, stretching the opposition. He's been massive for the success as of late for Miami FC. Because as he pulls players out of position, then you give the real estate for Joaquin Rivas, for Christian Soto to operate in underneath. And those players wanted the ball, they want to be creative. It's a very good relationship that Louis Neal has found on the front line as of late for Miami FC.
Yeah, Louis Neal just injecting some new life into the club. He's assistant coach with Anthony Pulis this year, so it's not like he came off the tarmac from parts unknown. He's been with Miami throughout the year. The message might be the same, but the way that it's expressed in the voice, just a different tone.
It's so interesting because the first assistant is always the shoulder that the players go to speak their minds. When there's frustration, you have that relationship with him. So to be able to build over the years, over the course of a season, to understand how a player likes to be talked to, what buttons to press to get the best out of them.
Kostishin lets it rip, but that thing goes immediately into the chest of Adrian Zendejas.
Hasn't been his night in the final quality. Kostishin, no lack of talent there, can beat players 1v1. Picks up his head about 25 yards out. Doesn't have enough English and bend on it, straight into the hands of Zendejas.
Adrian trying to work on his 5th clean sheet of the season. Miami FC had 17 of those last year.
It's a great ball.
Cabral surveying the land. Found an open crease for Bolu Cabral. A little too much mustard on that pass. But now Miami FC just chewing up more clock, and no clue right now for El Paso trying to crack the code. Mine's getting forced off of that nicely by Hines. It's a tight spot for Diaz. I don't know what he was thinking there.
You hit it first time. As the ball comes back, just clear your lines. Benny Diaz tries to overcomplicate it. Fortunate enough for him, goes out for a corner kick.
Kyle Murphy, he will be coming in here in the 85th minute along with Claudio Repetto. Substitutions brought to you by Good Greek Moving and Storage. Excellent night for Michael Salazar. He comes off the pitch. And a good one for Christian Sordo. Both gentlemen did their part tonight. And now Murphy and Repetto will get some reps. Pretty nice for Lewis Neal to be able to go to his bench and get Claudio Repetto and Cal Murphy out there. Let's see what Rivas and company do here. And now everyone just peeling back. Here's Stanley. More of the same when it builds up here. Mine's the nice move. That's a foul for Yuma.
Just too many gaps between the lines defensively for El Paso Locomotive. Ben Mines, the explosiveness, just beats Yuma there. No argument for the foul. Just sticks out his leg. Ben Mines runs into it, feels the contact, goes down.
Benny Diaz relaxing for a brief moment. He was under siege in the first half and got beat twice. Let's see who takes this. Cabral and Aiden Stanley are both here. '88th minute of our Tatatu man of the match coming up shortly. Joaquin Rivas with 2 goals in the first half. I bet my last dollar that is who Ricky will name as the man of the match. Massive contest next week for Miami. I mean, they're all big, but they have a date now with Indy 11. You think about the implication with where everyone is, the standings, the alignment, games left in the season. It's a tough approach there on the corner kicks. And Deas, though, had a beat on it. Indy 11 on the 12th. 11 matches after tonight for Miami FC. And it's huge because they've won 3 in a row if they win here tonight. Then they have Indy 11 coming up, and then Hartford. You figured, Ricky, this is a sweet spot for Miami to get fat in a hurry.
It's an opportunity just to create separation between them, the players, and the teams right around that playoff line.
After that contest with Hartford, they get Tampa Bay, and they go back against Miami and then Detroit, and then they'll have a tough stretch where they get Pittsburgh and Lou City. But both of those matches will be here at FIU Stadium. That's the one luxury. And revenge games as well. They drew to a 1-1 tie with Pittsburgh, but they got beat by Lou City earlier this year. Kostitian trying to use his muscle. Lions turning and firing. Kostitian off of a body, and that'll result in a corner kick.
Just trying to create something out of nothing. Kostitian, most active player, wanting to get on the ball between him and Liam Rose, especially in the second half for El Paso Locomotive.
4 minutes of stoppage time confirmed. And now Rivas will just trot up. Miami FC's got numbers here if they want to push. Cabral, Segbers. Segbers, that went off a body and into the net. Game, set, and match for Miami. It'll be their 3rd victory in 3 matches, and they lead right now 3-0. Segbers had the right idea, but the bounce, and when things are going your way, Ricky, they continue to go your way.
You can throw numbers forward. You try to get at least 1 goal for a Paso Locomotive, and it leaves you extremely vulnerable going back the other way. But this ball from Cabral is just so good, right in front of the path of Mark Segbers. And as Nick Hine comes across, tries to close down the angle, just so unlucky, takes a wicked deflection. Nothing Benny Diaz can do. Back of the net, Miami FC will take it. 3 goals on the night, all smiles for the home side.
It's indicative, though, of how Miami has played in this recent run, though, because it feels like anytime you go through good moments for them, build-ups, goals, even quality shots, Segbers, Cabral have been in the middle of all that chaos.
And just the willingness to get himself in that final third. It's minute 91, going over 60 yards to provide that support, to provide just an option going forward. You get rewarded for it. It all comes down to the understanding of first Joaquin Rivas. The run from Michael Salazar to come to the near side. Joaquin Rivas on that far side picks up his head, finds Cabral. Just a well-worked goal, and if you're Luis Neal, you have to be very pleased with just the hard work from your team.
Well, Miami FC will get the goals wherever they can take it. Goal differential for them now is down to 4, -4 that is. And for El Paso, surrendering 3 here tonight. They've now been outscored by their opponents 16-6 in their last 7+ matches.
You asked me earlier, how do they get out of this low point of their season? It starts offensively. You can't be leaking that many goals and expect to get results. You get a clean sheet, it secures you at least 1 point, and then it also gives you the confidence for the players on the attacking phase just to produce at least 1 goal. So I think if you're Brian Clare Howard, if you are the coaching staff for El Paso Locomotive, you need to be a bit tighter defensively in terms of your lines, in terms of just the willingness of the center midfielders having the ability to track back and make life very frustrating for opposition.
Segbers again on another run. Cabral on a tee. Nice spin move, and he caps it off. Wow, a spinorama from Gabriel Cabral, finding the back of the net. His first goal of the season. It is all Miami. This thing is a runaway freight train.
Much like the opening goal, you cut back because this back line is retreating towards the goal line. Brilliant ball in from Paco Craig. Tons of real estate on that far side for Mark Segbers. It all comes down to decision making. As Nick Hines, as McHugh, as Yuma and Lions are in emergency defending, McHugh just gets caught. Gabriel Cabral spins him like a top, and talk about technique and body control. To have the composure to finish it off as Yuma comes in. No chance for the center back, and what a fantastic individual goal for a man who's been spectacular in the center of the park for Miami FC.
It's a filthy goal. It is filthy. Gabriel Cabral, his first goal of the season. Mark Segbers with the assist. And this thing is over. We're just waiting for the final whistle. Game, set, and match. And this thing was a boat race. Never in doubt, this is probably the most comfortable match of the season that Miami FC was in, and they won it walking away 4-0 over El Paso.
Just clinical in their defensive 18-yard box and their attacking 18-yard box. And talk about the quality of goals that we've seen from Miami FC, something that we haven't really seen from minute 1 to minute 90 for the far and better side, taking their chances, keeping a clean sheet intact, and that man, Gabriel Cabral, was spectacular. Joaquin Rivas, spectacular, getting his brace in that first half. But there's positives to take for El Paso Locomotive. First half, probably your worst soccer that you'll play all season. Second half was a lot better, getting on the ball a bit more. But again, it just comes down to defensively. Too many gaps opening up.
Well, lead us to our Tata 2 man of the match. I don't know if it's going to be anybody else than Joaquin Rivas.
Starts with Gabriel Cabral. Christian Sorto picks over his shoulder, understands there's no trailing defensive run. I'm going to roll us into the path, and he takes it oh so well. Opens up his hips and just roofs this thing. No chance for Benny Diaz. And a nice little dance move to go with it. 10 out of 10 on the celebration.
Nicely done. Joaquin Rivas, our Tata 2 man of the match, scoring 2 goals in this affair, both of them in the first half. Gabriel Cabral also added 1 as well. And for Miami FC, win number 6 on the campaign. They're good for 26 points. They up their record to 6, 9, and 8. El Paso win this now in 8 in a row. They fall to 9, 8, and 5. Post-game show coming up next.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
This broadcast tonight brought to you by FPL. Learn how FPL is investing in Florida's future at FPL.com/value. Tata 2 and Macron. We've made some time for Last Call with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon. Ricky, full-time highlights. We had a boatload of them.
And probably the best performance that we've seen all year from Miami FC from minute 1 to minute 94. And it starts in the 15th minute. Great ball in from Cabral, and then it's all about decision-making for Christian Sordo. Picks up his head, sees there's no one tracking Joaquin Rivas, and he is a dangerous man from 13 yards out. No mistake about the finish. And then Gabriel Cabral at the thick of it once again. Peels out. Even though there's no need to leave your feet, just move your feet, move him towards the end line and make him play negative. As you leave your feet, Cabral makes the most of it, and Benny Diaz is going to want this one back. Probably not the best PK that Joaquin Rios will hit in his career, and he gets a lot of the contact, but unable to push it wide of the post.
So that was the damage that was done in the first half. It felt like it was all she wrote. Miami did pour it on, though, in the second half.
You work hard, you get rewarded in transition moments, especially. Mark Segber starts on the post and makes a lung-busting run. Gets a deflection here from Nick Hyington, probably the goal of the afternoon. Gabriel Cabral, the composure, the quality, and the body control. Mix that with the technique as well. Paco Craig, and then decision-making. The backline's retreating. There's going to be a real at the top of the box. Spins his defender like a top, and then just fantastic goal of the game for me. Gabriel Cabral, massive. Miami FC, 4 goals, 3 points at home. Happy days.
Book it. 4-0 the final score. Miami FC has won 3 straight. They've captured 9 points now during that span. And now, lo and behold, Ricky, they're in the ace spot in the Eastern Conference.
Exactly what you want if you're Miami FC, to pick up points at home, and you're doing it in fashion. But what a massive game it's going to be against Indy 11. And for El Paso Locomotive, I mentioned it at the end of the game, probably your worst half of football, especially in that first set that you'll play all season long. But the reaction was good. The reaction wanting to get on the ball a bit more, really dictating tempo, to be fair, in the last 10 minutes of the second half, but not having that final punch, especially in around that 18-yard box.
So Rivas with 2 tonight, an own goal by Hines, and also Gabriel Cabral, his first of the season. The 4, Natman Agents and Diaz, his 5th clean sheet of the season. Miami FC improves their record to 6-9-8, good for 26 points. El Paso falls to 9-8-5. They have gone winless now in 8 straight, 0-5-3 during that span. For my broadcast partner, Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm David Gascon. Hope you enjoyed this one. Miami wins it 4-0. Good night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.